From JBS Studios in Greater New York, this is the JBS News Update with Teisha Bader.
I'm Teisha Bader with the JBS News Update for Thursday, February the 23rd, 2017. An Israeli fighter jet shot down a Hamas drone this afternoon. The unmanned aircraft being operated by the terror group was identified by Israel's Air Force as soon as it took off and was being monitored from the time it left the Gaza Strip, making its way to the Mediterranean, where IAF fighter jets successfully brought it down before it was able to infiltrate Israeli airspace, landing in the sea. The IDF spokesperson's unit said that the IDF will not allow any airspace violation and will act resolutely against any such attempt. An IDF soldier was lightly injured during military operations in the West Bank last night. An explosive device was thrown at an IDF force from the paratroopers brigade that was providing security at Joseph's tomb while Jewish worshippers were visiting there. The device very lightly wounded the soldier, who was treated at the scene and then taken to the hospital. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu expressed his support of a pardon for convicted IDF soldier Elor Azaria. As we reported to you, Azaria was sentenced earlier this week to 18 months in prison for shooting dead a wounded Palestinian terrorist in Hebron last year. Netanyahu, who is still on his official state visit to Australia, told reporters in Sydney today that soldiers in dangerous situations could be deterred from acting out of fear that they could be prosecuted, and therefore there must be understanding and progress toward a pardon. Netanyahu is nearing the end of his visit to Australia. He and his Australian counterpart, Prime Minister Malcolm Turnbull, visited Sydney's Central Synagogue as well as a Jewish school there. Netanyahu heads back to Israel Saturday night. U.S. Vice President Mike Pence visited the cemetery outside of St. Louis, Missouri yesterday that was vandalized over the holiday weekend and joined volunteers in the cleanup process. As we reported to you, some 170 headstones were knocked over and damaged at the Chesed Shel Emet Cemetery in University City. Pence was joined by a regional director of the Anti-Defamation League and Missouri Governor Eric Greitens, who is Jewish, and addressed the hateful vandalism.
There is no place in America for hatred or acts of prejudice or violence or anti-Semitism. I must tell you, the people of Missouri are inspiring the nation by your love and care for this place, for the Jewish community in Missouri, and I want to thank you for that inspiration, for showing the world what America is really all about.
He also mentioned the recent wave of threats against Jewish community centers across the country. Meanwhile, a crowdfunding campaign launched by Muslim Americans has raised, as of this morning, $115,000 to help repair the damage at the Jewish cemetery. And members of Congress are calling on federal agencies to respond to the phoned-in bomb threats that have targeted JCCs over the last 2 months. Yesterday, U.S. Representative Stephanie Murphy of Florida and U.S. Representative Joseph Crowley of New York released a letter signed by more than 150 lawmakers urging federal agencies to take action. The bipartisan letter was sent to Department of Homeland Security Secretary John Kelly, Attorney General Jeff Sessions, and FBI Director James Comey. It refers to the 4 dates in January and February in which 53 JCCs in 26 states and 1 Canadian province received a total of 68 phoned-in bomb threats, all of which proved to be false. The letter asks the agencies to advise Congress on what specific steps are being taken to deter such threats, as well as to identify and prosecute those responsible. Chairman of the Jewish Community Center Association of North America, Stephen Seiden, expressed the group's gratitude for the initiative. He said, "We urge the administration and federal agencies to continue joining us in prioritizing our community safety, and we look forward to seeing the perpetrators brought to justice quickly." The World Jewish Congress and the Israeli Consulate in New York have named their winner of the 2nd annual Campus Pitch competition. Yale University student Leah Weiner received a $5,000 grant for her proposal to coordinate mock Israeli-Palestinian negotiations on campus. The two-day workshop will be held in cooperation with pro-Israel and pro-Palestinian groups and led by Jewish and Palestinian Washington Institute fellows, respectively David Makovsky and Gates Al-Omari. The competition for college students asks them for initiatives to change the discourse on college campuses and fight the battle against the BDS movement, boycott, divestment, and sanctions movement that seeks to delegitimize the State of Israel. And taking a look now at our programming for tonight on JBS for Thursday, February the 23rd. At 7 o'clock, Rabbi Mordechai Becker looks at what the Talmud says about self-defense. At 7:30, former British Army Colonel Richard Kemp talks about fighting Islamic extremism from the CUFI conference. At 8, Indiana University professor Shaul Magid discusses the life and peace philosophy of Rabbi Menachem Froman. At 9, Mark Golub sits down with Israeli recording artist Noah on L'chaim. And at 10, it's more of JBS's coverage of the Jewish Orthodox Feminist Alliance Conference with educators and married couple Aaron Kohler of Yeshiva University and Shira Hecht Kohler of Drisha Institute for Jewish Education, who discuss equality in parenting. And coming up right after this newscast tonight at 6:30, Mark Golub speaks with Jewish Community of Hebron spokesperson Yishai Fleischer, who talks about his New York Times op-ed piece in which he offers various alternatives to the two-state solution. That's on tonight's In the News. And that's the JBS News Update for Thursday, February the 23rd, 2017. I'm Teisha Bader.